Lost in these romance.
Hello, welcome to my channel. My name's Jimmy. It's the first time I've ever done this, but I've been inspired by a few other channels I've seen on YouTube of people vlogging their experiences of being over 40, unemployed, and suffering from mental health problems. So today starts my adventure of doing something similar and trying to tell my story and how I got to this point in my life. Just a little background. I am English, obviously, clearly, and I live in Rome, in Italy, with my Italian girlfriend and our 6-year-old manic, quite possibly autistic ADHD child who is just off the radar of and level of madness a lot of the time. It's 8 something in the morning right now here in Italy. It's, what is it? I guess it's the 30th of September? No idea. I've no idea what dates are even anymore these days. And a little bit of the sunshine obviously on my face here, which is nice, but I don't know if you can see that. It is cold enough to have mist coming out of my mouth. I'm here at the moment on my morning bike ride. I don't do it every morning. I probably should, because it's good to just get out and see some nature and try and help my brain a bit. So I'm here. This place is pretty cool. It's not so far away from where I live. It's only taken me like 2-3 minutes to get here. This is called Parco di Sabine, which is a great big sort of open park. I believe it's owned by, I guess it's owned by the council, but there's a big part of it that's got Italian Australians who have like a horse farm on it, and they do all sorts of horse riding and such like. But this particular part where I am here is pretty cool because the locals have turned it into like their mountain bike trek. So you see they've come down here. Let's have a look. They've created all sorts of jumps, and it's quite actually big. It goes all the way around the corner around here, all the way behind these trees. It goes down, and oh, I've got some women here. All sorts of treks. On another one of my videos, I will use my GoPro and stick it to my helmet. I'm gonna take you around on a little adventure, show you more around. Anyway, I'm gonna head off on my trek, and I'll stop at another point and I'll create another video to tell a bit more of the story. See you in a while. Here I am again, back out in the wilderness. So the other side of here is a motorway, so I hope you can hear me. And this, I have to keep checking around and looking around, because the thing about Rome is it's swamped with wild boar. Not even a word of a lie. Wild boar, huge, great big wild pigs with tusks. And they like areas like this. I mean, for all I know, they could all be living in this bush over here by the motorway. So, got to keep my eyes peeled, you know. Anyway, where was I? So, I'm 46 years old, originally from a town called Maidenhead in the Royal County of Berkshire, which is like 10-15 miles away from Windsor Castle, where the Queen used to live before she died. I've been unemployed now for 2 years, over 2 years in fact. In those 2 years I have had some employment. I've been hired by companies to do some work, but in both cases it's only lasted. One of them was actually a remote company. They're basically have meeting rooms, like the remote meeting rooms. So they're a company, a tech company that arranges meeting rooms for people that work remotely, and you can book these meeting rooms from this app, and you can go and talk to your clients about whatever. So I worked for them for a month, literally a month, maybe even just over a month, and it was a very unorganised company. They didn't really know. They were one of these companies that had obviously had to lay off a lot of people, made a lot of people redundant, and then they've rehired people for cheaper money. I guess I was one of those people, and for whatever reason, I still don't even know why, never really explained to me, but after a month I just received a random email from what I call my manager, who wasn't really that much of a manager. She wasn't even capable of managing people, and she just wrote me one of these emails, like a Dear John sort of email, like, "Oh, thanks Jim, thanks for all your work, we don't need you anymore, bye." And I was like, cheers, thanks for that. That really angered me, that one, because it was actually a company. It was being run by basically the CEO of the company that I got made redundant from originally. He had left. Again, they were a tech company, and he had basically been trying to grow the company. The company wasn't really growing. Got to a point where he had a bit of a falling out with all the board members, and he was off. So he took over at this company along with the CFO, the financial man, geezer, both of them. So I thought to myself, this is going to work out well. It's basically the CEO that I really liked. He was an Australian guy, loved to drink, and he was a laugh. He was a brilliant CEO. He was great, but for whatever reason, I basically got given my marching orders again. The woman who was my manager she was one of these people that I think basically what I think was the problem was she wanted me to just manage myself. She basically hired me, and then I would do bits and bobs of work. I haven't actually mentioned this, but I'm basically a graphics person. So I work in tech companies doing graphics. So I'll give a bit more of a lowdown of that in another video. But so she wanted basically a graphic designer who would just design stuff, and that would be it. She didn't want to have to manage me. She wanted me to just do stuff, get on with it, and ask no questions, really. So me being me, I was the sort of person that would, have to have some kind of validation. I need someone that could kind of help me, someone who can manage me, basically, and sort of give me direction. So, endlessly every day I was doing stuff, but not really knowing what I was doing. So I'd have to send messages via Teams to her saying, sending pictures to her and ideas and saying, "What do you think of this? Do you like this? Blah, blah, blah." And she was obviously just too busy doing whatever she was trying to do. And I think she just got annoyed in the end and just thought, I just need someone that just can manage themselves, do what they can do. And she didn't want to have to manage me. So I think that was the reason basically why she got rid of me, was maybe I just asked too many questions. But hey, if you don't really know what you're doing in your job, you have to ask questions, don't you? Otherwise you're just aimlessly, roaming around doing nothing. which is basically what I did. You know, they signed me up. I went through all this faff at the beginning of signing up for accounts for Monday.com and all of this, where I was expecting tickets to come through with, you know, requests from people saying, oh, could you do this for me, Jim? Could you do that for me? Which is what I was used to from my previous job, which was basically a job, you know, a tech job in London. I'll explain that in another video. But I would get tickets on a daily basis, and I would just come in the morning, check my tickets, put them into an order of which way I think they need to go, and I would work through them. And then any problems, I would ask my manager. My manager would have a look at them and have a look at my problems and sort them out. We'd discuss them, and you know, it was a bit more of a teamwork. But this woman at this company is just clueless. She didn't really know what she was doing. And literally in my first week, I met a girl who was also, she was in the marketing team. I think I was basically part of the marketing team, and I literally knew her for 2 days, and then she got sacked. So I reached out to her and chatted, because she wrote a post on LinkedIn basically saying how, you know, she had real bad severe post-traumatic stress syndrome even before she started at that company, and then just to be sacked like that, like she was a bit of garbage, it kind of sent her close to the edge. So I reached out to her and chatted to her and sort of said, what happened, what was the problem? And we got chatting, and she basically said, this woman just doesn't have a clue how to manage a team. I think she was basically one of those people that she was a marketing person, but she wasn't really a manager. And then when the first round of redundancies came, this woman basically got, you know, upscaled to being a manager, and she wasn't really a manager. So this girl also agreed she was awful at managing people. She could do, you know, her own stuff, knew what she was doing, but when it came to actually managing people, she was clueless. So that was the first one. The second one, again, one of these tech companies. An old friend of mine had seen a few posts of mine on LinkedIn about how I was suffering with mental health myself, and he reached out to me and we had a good long chat. He's a really old friend. I mean, I've known him probably since he was about 3-4 years old. I'm a couple of years older than him. I knew his sister, who was in my year at school. He reached out to me anyway and said, this girl that I used to work with, she's a marketing genius. I've seen that she's advertised on LinkedIn that she needs someone, you know, with your skill set. So I went and had a look, and it was a video of this girl, you know, the standard, you know, picture of the tech wannabe with her trendy glasses, blah, blah, blah. I'm such a marketing genius. And she was saying, I need someone who can do some kind of graphics work, maybe some sort of motion work or some video work, a general all-rounder, blah, blah, blah.
Hello, we are urgently looking for a designer to help us with some very exciting assets. You need to be able to do kind of statics, but it's definitely a bonus if you can work on motion and lots of other things as well. This is for a project due very soon, but we are looking for someone to help us on an ongoing basis as well. So if that sounds like you or anyone you know, just send me a message. So
exchanged a few emails with her and got back to her, and she's basically one of those people that does Facebook ads and doing like A and B testing of, you know, trying to sending out different types of adverts and looking at metrics and analytics and seeing which ones resonate with customers or clients more. And she basically gave me this job, and I did literally one job for her, which was she gave me some video to edit that she wanted, you know, like just a minute-long video that she could put on an advert on Facebook or whatever. And unfortunately, the week that I started that job, I had literally the worst flu I've ever experienced in my life. So I woke up on a Monday morning, I hadn't heard anything from them, and then all of a sudden my girlfriend writes me a text or something, or I can't even remember, a voicemail or something saying, oh, have you seen that email from that girl? And I was laying in bed, dripping with sweat, aches and pains all over my body, unable to move. She says, oh, this girl's emailed you with your first task. So somehow I had to get out of bed, suffering from the worst flu, dose myself up with all sorts of drugs, sit at a computer, which I wasn't even able to do. I was bent sort of sideways, and I looked at this email, and it was basically editing together these video clips for some app. She basically works with the app industry.
I'm always trying to write my favorite podcast quotes in my notes app, but it's such a pain to keep rewinding to get it all written down. I use a Snipped app and just tap my headphones when I hear something worth remembering.
She thinks she's this amazing guru of marketing for the apps industry. And from what I've seen and research, she does appear to know what she's doing. But again, this is her first company, and I don't think she really knew how to manage a company. And everything was up in the air, didn't really know what was going on. I was having to deal with numerous different account managers, and neither of them really knew what was going on. So I was flying blind, as they say. So in my absolute painful flu-ness, I tried to get all of this stuff together, taking into account that I'd never really done that sort of work before. I was learning on the fly with the flu, and managed to somehow get it together, but it took me like a good part of a week. I think they were only thinking it was going to take me 1 or 2 days, but because I didn't really know what I was doing, no one was really helping me, I had the flu, it took a lot longer than usual. There was no one checking up on me, no one sending me messages saying, oh, are you going to get this done, you know, by day 3 or day 4, or when's this going to be available, when's it ready? And literally in the end, I sent it to them. They were all really happy with it, asked me to send them an invoice. I'd already agreed with this woman that I was going to get paid £250 per day, okay? So I did all the calculations, did my invoice, sent it over to them. Following week, I then get some email from an accounts person at this company saying, we need to have a chat. And I'm like, okay, what's this about? Eventually managed to have a sit down with this person, and she basically turns around and says to me, we're just a bit confused because you've really severely overcharged us on this invoice. You said it was going to be 250. And I said, yeah, 250 a day. So I'd calculated it was over 1,000, 1,500 or something, close enough. And she was like, well, this isn't really what we were expecting. And that was it. That was the last I heard from them. They basically, in the end, went back and forth with this finance person, and all she did was ended up paying me 250 for basically five days worth of work at 250 a day. She only charged me for 1 day's work when I was suffering from the flu, did endless amounts of work sitting at the computer, and she just mugged me off and just charged me as little as she possibly could. So from that day, I've gone to madness. At that point, I'm going to leave it because there's a dog coming. I'll cycle on and we'll find somewhere else to talk about. Ciao for now. Back again. Back home now. Ditched the mountain bike ride because something quite concerning just happened. It was actually quite shocking. The end of the last video, I said I was going because the dog was coming. Guess what? Dog turned out to be a wolf. Wolf. Now, there's been a news report going around locally here in Rome about a wolf, basically, that's just roaming the streets. As I said earlier on that there's wild boars, there's also wolves. So there's mountains. I don't know if I think I said in my last video that there's mountains further out from where I live. And so this wolf, so he's come down from the mountains, and there's a report, I'll put it up on screen as well, and this wolf has basically attacked a child. So I see this wolf basically coming towards me, so I thought it was a dog, and I was going towards it, and then he charged at me. So I was like, this, I'm out of here. So I've come home, and subsequently, as soon as I got home, thunderstorms come over as well. So look, I don't know if you can see it, it's a bit rainy and stuff. So I'm stopping the video. I'm going to continue at another time. See you later.
A restless beast moves in disguise, with whispers of the breeze as his guide. He prowls the land with endless stride, through thickened woods where shadows play. The wolf journeys forth, night turns to day. Pause in rhythm on the ancient roams, guided by hunger's deep tones. Picture the night, the house so clear, a hungry wolf roaming through the Roman sphere, with eyes like embers burning through the dark. He hunts in silence, driven by a wild heart. Oh, in the shadow of ancient stone, a lone wolf on a path is hunger grown. Through the wilderness under the moon's light, he seeks his prey till the break of night.